There are moments in life when everything becomes quiet, when your prayers feel unanswered, your efforts seem unnoticed, and your path appears unclear. In those moments, you may feel alone, confused, even forgotten. But what if this silence is not emptiness, but preparation? What if behind the scenes, Allah is aligning things in ways you cannot yet see? This is the phase many people misunderstand, the silent phase where hearts are tested, patience is built, and destinies are shaped. There are moments when your life becomes unusually quiet, when things you once relied on begin to fade, when answers don't come as quickly as you hoped, and when even your sincere prayers seem to echo without a visible response. In those moments, the heart begins to feel a certain heaviness, and the mind starts asking difficult questions. You wonder why doors are closing, why people are distancing, why clarity is replaced with confusion. It can feel like you've been left alone to figure everything out by yourself. But what feels like distance is not abandonment, and what feels like silence is not neglect. Allah's silence is never empty. It is full of wisdom, full of purpose, and full of unseen movement that your eyes cannot yet perceive. When things go quiet, it is often because something deeper is being arranged. Not everything is meant to be loud and obvious. Some of the most powerful transformations happen baridan and al-anzar, away from attention, in places where only Allah can see what is truly unfolding. When you are in this phase, it is not because you have been forgotten. It is because you're being shaped. There are qualities within you that cannot grow in comfort, that cannot develop in constant ease or continuous clarity. Strength, patience, reliance, sincerity. These are not built in moments of ease. They are cultivated in silence, in waiting, in not knowing what comes next, but choosing to trust anyway. You may feel like nothing is changing, but inside you, everything is being rearranged. Your perspective is shifting. Your dependence on people is slowly being replaced with dependence on Allah. Your heart is learning to detach from what it once held tightly. Even your pain is doing its work, softening you, humbling you, bringing you closer to a level of sincerity you may not have reached before. Sometimes Allah removes the noise of your life so you can finally hear what truly matters. When distractions fade and the usual comforts are no longer present, you are left with yourself and your connection with Him. That space, though uncomfortable, is sacred. It is where you begin to see things differently, where your priorities start to realign, where you start recognizing what was once hidden beneath the surface of your busy life. What you interpret as delay is often protection. What you interpret as silence is often planning. Allah sees what you cannot see, and He knows what would harm you even if you desire it deeply. So He withholds, He pauses, He redirects, not to break you, but to build you in a way that aligns with a greater purpose. This phase teaches you to trust beyond what is visible. It teaches you to believe even when there is no immediate evidence. It pulls you away from needing constant reassurance and instead anchors your heart in certainty that Allah is always in control, even when everything feels uncertain. What you often call no progress is usually just progress that hasn't revealed itself yet. We are used to measuring growth by what we can immediately see: results, recognition, movement, change. When those signs are missing, it creates the illusion that nothing is happening. But not all growth is visible, and not all progress makes noise. Think about how your inner self develops. Your patience does not suddenly appear one day in a complete form. It is slowly built through moments of waiting, disappointment, and restraint. Your strength is not created in ease. It is quietly formed in the days you choose to keep going despite feeling exhausted. Your trust in Allah does not deepen overnight. It grows in those silent moments when you continue to believe. Even when things do not make sense, there are changes happening within you that cannot be captured by the eye. Your mindset is evolving. Your reactions are shifting. The way you handle pain, the way you respond to people, the way you process hardship, all of this is being refined in ways that are subtle yet powerful. You may not notice it immediately because these changes are not loud, but they are real and they are lasting. Sometimes you expect growth to feel like excitement, like a clear sense of moving forward. But real growth often feels uncomfortable. It feels like confusion, like being stretched beyond your limits, like standing in a place where nothing seems certain. That discomfort is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that something within you is being reshaped. There are also blessings being prepared for you that require a version of you that does not yet exist. If those blessings were given to you in your current state, they might overwhelm you, distract you, or even harm you. So the process begins not by changing your circumstances immediately, but by changing you. Quietly, steadily, without announcement, Allah begins to build within you the capacity to handle what is coming. You might look at your life and compare it to others, seeing their achievements, their milestones, their visible progress. It can make you feel like you are falling behind, like you are stuck while everyone else is moving forward. But what you do not see is their journey, and what you fail to recognize is that your path is being designed specifically for you. Your timing is different because your preparation is different. Even in moments when you feel stagnant, there are lessons being planted in your heart. Every delay is teaching you something. Every closed door is redirecting you. Every moment of uncertainty is strengthening your reliance on Allah. These are not empty experiences. They are building blocks, laying a foundation that will support what is yet to come. You may not see the full picture right now, and you may not understand why things are unfolding the way they are, but hidden beneath the surface is a process that is far more meaningful than immediate results. It is a process that is shaping your character, refining your intentions, and aligning your path in a way that will make sense when the time is right. Hardships have a way of entering your life without permission, without warning, and often without explanation. One moment things feel stable, and the next everything shifts. Plans fall apart, expectations crumble, and you are left trying to make sense of a reality you never imagined for yourself. In those moments, it is easy to see hardship as something purely negative, something to escape from as quickly as possible. But there is a depth to these experiences that is often overlooked, a purpose that unfolds quietly within the struggle itself. Every difficulty carries within it an opportunity to reshape who you are. It tests your reactions, exposes your vulnerabilities, and reveals the areas of your heart that still need growth. When life is easy, you may not notice your weaknesses. You may not recognize how quickly you become impatient, how easily you rely on temporary things, or how fragile your sense of control really is. But hardship has a way of bringing all of that to the surface, not to embarrass you, but to show you what needs to be strengthened. It is through challenges that resilience is formed. When you are pushed beyond your comfort zone, when you are forced to endure situations you would never choose for yourself, something within you begins to adapt. You learn to carry weight you once thought was impossible to bear. You discover a level of endurance you didn't know existed within you. And even though it feels overwhelming in the moment, it is slowly building a version of you that is far more capable than before. Hardships also refine your relationship with control. As human beings, we like to feel in charge, to believe that with enough effort, we can shape outcomes exactly as we desire. But when things don't go according to plan, when despite your best efforts the results are different from what you hoped for, you are faced with a reality that humbles you. It teaches you that control was never truly yours, and that there is a greater wisdom governing your life. In that realization, a deeper form of reliance begins to develop. You start turning to Allah not only when things go wrong, but because you recognize that He is the one who understands what you cannot. Your prayers become more sincere, not just words you repeat, but conversations filled with need, honesty, and vulnerability. Hardship strips away superficial layers and brings you to a place where your connection with Allah becomes more real and more meaningful. There is also a purification that takes place through trials. Difficult moments have a way of cleansing the heart, removing arrogance, softening harshness, and replacing it with humility. They remind you of your dependence, not just on outcomes, but on guidance, mercy, and strength that comes from beyond yourself. Through pain, your perspective shifts, and things that once seemed so important begin to lose their hold on you. Even the way you see others can change. When you experience struggle, you become more understanding, more compassionate, more aware of the silent battles people around you might be facing. Your heart becomes gentler, less judgmental, more willing to support rather than criticize. These are qualities that cannot be taught through ease. They are developed through lived experience. Sometimes the hardship you are facing is not just about you. It is preparing you to help someone else in the future, to guide, to support, to understand in a way that only someone who has walked that path can. The strength you are building now may one day become a source of comfort for someone else who feels lost. What feels like breaking is often the process of being rebuilt in a stronger, more grounded way. The discomfort, the confusion, The weight of it all is shaping you into someone who can carry greater responsibilities, handle deeper emotions, and navigate life with a stronger sense of purpose and awareness. Patience is often misunderstood as simply waiting, as if it means doing nothing while time passes and hoping things will eventually change. But true patience is far more active, far more demanding, and far more powerful than that. It is the ability to remain steady when everything within you wants to react, to complain, or to give up. It is the quiet strength that holds you together when circumstances try to pull you apart. There are moments when life tests you in ways that feel unbearable. Delays stretch longer than expected, prayers seem unanswered, and the outcomes you hoped for appear distant or even impossible. In those moments, patience becomes more than just a virtue. It becomes a necessity. Without it, frustration begins to take over, negativity starts to shape your thoughts, and your perspective becomes clouded by what is missing rather than what is still present. Patience is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending that everything is fine. It is about acknowledging the difficulty, feeling the weight of it, and still choosing not to let it control your actions or your faith. It is about carrying your pain with dignity without allowing it to turn into bitterness or resentment. There is a quiet power in holding yourself together when everything around you feels uncertain. When you practice patience, you are training your heart to trust beyond immediate outcomes. You are teaching yourself that just because something has not happened yet does not mean it will never happen. You begin to understand that timing is not always aligned with your expectations, and that there is wisdom in delays that you may not fully comprehend in the moment. Patience also protects you from making decisions driven by desperation. When you are overwhelmed, there is a tendency to rush into choices simply to escape discomfort. But patience allows you to pause, to think clearly, to avoid actions that you might later regret. It creates space between your emotions and your decisions, giving you the clarity to move forward in a way that is thoughtful rather than reactive. There is a transformation that takes place within a patient heart. Over time, you begin to develop a sense of calm, even in difficult situations. Things that once would have shaken you no longer have the same effect. You become more grounded, more composed, more aware that every situation is temporary and that ease can follow hardship in ways you did not expect. Patience also deepens your awareness of Allah's presence in your life. When you choose to remain steadfast despite challenges, you are constantly reminding yourself that you are not facing your struggles alone. That awareness brings a sense of comfort, a quiet reassurance that even in moments of uncertainty, there is a plan unfolding beyond your understanding. The strength that comes from patience is not always visible to others. It is an internal strength, a resilience that builds over time, shaping your character in ways that go far beyond the situation you are currently facing. It allows you to endure without breaking, to continue without losing hope, and to believe without needing immediate proof. There is something deeply challenging about waiting when you feel ready, when your heart is set on something, and when you believe you have done everything within your ability to make it happen. You plan, you strive, you make dua, and yet the outcome remains out of reach. In those moments, it becomes difficult to understand why things are not unfolding according to your timeline. You begin to feel as though you are being held back, as though something that should have happened by now is being unnecessarily delayed. But what you perceive as delay is often a carefully measured timing that is beyond your limited view. You see only a small portion of the journey, while Allah sees the entire path, every detail, every consequence, every hidden factor that could affect you. What you want right now may not align with what is truly best for you at this moment. Even if it feels right in your heart, trusting divine timing means accepting that not everything is meant to happen when you want it to. It requires you to let go of the illusion that urgency determines value. Just because something feels important to you now does not mean it is meant for you now. There are elements being arranged, circumstances being aligned, and outcomes being prepared in ways you cannot fully comprehend. Sometimes what you are asking for is indeed written for you, but the version of you that will receive it is still being developed. If it were given to you too soon, you might not appreciate it fully, you might mishandle it, or it might not bring you the peace you expect. So instead of rushing the outcome, the process focuses on refining you, your mindset, your priorities, your readiness. There are also moments when what you desire is not actually meant for you, even though it seems perfect from your perspective. In those cases, the delay itself is a form of mercy. It is a way of gently redirecting you without immediately revealing the reason. You may not understand it at first, and it may even cause you pain, but later you begin to see why certain things never came together, why certain doors remained closed despite your efforts. Trusting timing also means learning to be at peace with uncertainty. You do not always get clear answers, and you are not always shown the next step. Sometimes you are simply asked to continue, to move forward without full clarity, to rely on faith rather than visible signs. That space between effort and outcome is where trust is truly tested. It becomes less about controlling when things happen and more about believing that when they do happen, they will come at the right time, in the right way, and with the right impact on your life. This belief does not remove the difficulty of waiting, but it changes how you experience it. Instead of feeling stuck, you begin to see yourself as being held in a moment that still carries purpose. There is also a quiet reassurance in knowing that what is truly meant for you cannot miss you. No delay can take it away, no obstacle can permanently block it, and no one else can claim what has been written for you. At the same time, what is not meant for you will not reach you, no matter how much you chase it or try to force it into your life. Living with this understanding shifts your focus. Instead of constantly questioning when, you begin to focus on how you are growing, how you're responding, how you are preparing yourself for whatever is ahead. You start to recognize that timing is not working against you, but for you, even when it feels slow, even when it feels uncertain, even when it tests your patience in ways you never expected, my dear brothers and sisters. When you look back at everything you have gone through, the silence, the waiting, the hardships, the moments of confusion, you begin to realize that none of it was random. Every phase carried a purpose, every delay carried wisdom, and every test carried an opportunity to grow closer to Allah. What once felt like emptiness was actually filled with preparation, shaping you into someone stronger, more aware, and more connected to your Creator. The quiet moments you struggled to understand were never signs of abandonment. They were moments where your heart was being refined, your patience was being strengthened, and your trust was being deepened. Even when you could not see progress, growth was taking place within you. Even when life felt heavy, you were being equipped with the strength to carry what lies ahead. So do not overlook this phase of your life. Do not rush through it or resent it. Embrace it with trust, with patience, and with the certainty that Allah is always working in ways you cannot see. Hold firmly to your faith, continue to make dua, and keep moving forward with sincerity in your heart. Because when the time comes, you will understand why things unfolded the way they did, and you will see that every moment of silence was leading you exactly where you were meant to be